The 2024 World Chess Championship between reigning champion Liren and challenger Gukesh Dommaraju is just around the corner. What's incredible to me is that renowned betting company William Hill is backing Gukesh with 81% probability to win this World Chess Championship. This means that if you bet $1,000 on Liren to win the World Chess Championship, you'd be looking at a payout of $4,000. But if you bet that same $1,000 on Gukesh, you'd only be looking at a payout of $1,222. I think based on recent form, you'd be inclined to believe that Gukesh is the favorite by a little bit, but I'm here to tell you that it's a lot closer than it looks. In today's video, we'll be going through absolutely everything you need to know about the World Chess Championship. We'll look at the format specifications, their head-to-head history, their openings, and everything relevant to dictating who will win this World Chess Championship. So, let's begin with the tournament itself. The 2024 World Chess Championship will begin on the 25th of November, with rounds starting at 5 PM local time until a winner is decided. The tournament will be held in Singapore, specifically Sentosa Island, meaning that both players will experience a similar amount of jet lag considering India and China are in very close proximity of Singapore. Of course, both players will arrive in Singapore well before the tournament commences. However, jet lag can last up to a couple of weeks, but in this case, it likely will not play a factor. The prize fund for the event is the largest in any chess tournament, $2.5 million US. Each player will win $200,000 for each game they win, with draws being evenly split between the two players. If there are only 8 games played in the World Chess Championship, the remaining prize fund will be allocated to the winner. This is the reason that Jan Nepomniachtchi won such a large payout at the 2023 World Chess Championship, because the scores were tied before the tiebreaks. There will be a maximum of 14 games played in the World Chess Championship. Whoever reaches 7.5 points first will be awarded the title. This also means that whilst it's unlikely, there could only be 8 games at any World Chess Championship. The time control is 120 minutes of standard time, with no increment being allocated until move 61, where players will get an extra 30 seconds per move. On move 41, players will receive an extra 60 minutes on their clock, and on move 61, they'll receive an extra 15 minutes, which is also when they get their increments. In addition to all of this, players may not agree to a draw before the 41st move, but they can draw by any other means before this threshold. Scheduled rest days are after every 3rd round, and that is essentially everything you need to know about the tournament and the format. We'll look at both players individually a little bit later, but let's look at what we know for sure from their previous encounters. Ding and Gukesh have only played each other 5 times, with their first 2 games being played before Ding became a world champion at all. In those 2 games, Ding had the white pieces, but Gukesh held strong for 2 separate draws. It should also be noted that Gukesh didn't even have a rating of 2,600 ELO at this point. Ding played the Giocco Piano game in their first meeting, and the Queen's Gambit declined Karasek variation in their second. However, more recently, Ding has been crushing Gukesh, winning 2 out of their 3 games and holding a draw in the other. In the first of these 3 games at the 2023 Tata Steel, Ding played the Queen's Indian Defense Fianchetto variation against Gukesh with the black pieces and won in 38 moves after finding an incredible double pin knight maneuver on move 16. The two paired again at the same tournament a year later in 2024. Gukesh drew the white pieces again, but opted for 1e4 this time instead of 1d4. The game mirrored their 2021 encounter but with the reversed pieces, and it didn't work well for Gukesh as he ended up losing. The game was an eccentric opposite-side castled frenzy, but Gukesh flew too close to the sun and let Ding's pieces swarm his king. Their most recent encounter was at the 2024 Sinquefield Cup, where Gukesh would again draw the white pieces. He again tested Ding with the Giocco Piano game, but played much more conservatively in this affair, leaving their last meeting in a draw by Perpetual on move 28. If you're interested in looking at the full games themselves, I've left a Lichess study link in the description so you can look at the full games. So what can we expect from the 2024 World Chess Championship from these games? Well, Liren is impossibly difficult to prepare for, which played a massive role in his win over Jan Nepomniachtchi in 2023. In the 2023 World Chess Championship with the white pieces in classical time formats, Liren played the Queen's Gambit, which he famously lost with his inventive 4h3, the English opening, and the London system. Jan Nepomniachtchi also drew Ding into the Nimzo defense twice and the Kraus variation once. Ding won 3 games with the white pieces, lost once, and drew 3 times. This is important because Ding didn't play 1e4 at all against Jan Nepomniachtchi with the white pieces in the World Chess Championship, but he's played it in 2 out of his 3 games with white against Gukesh. Whilst Ding isn't famous for playing 1e4, he also had no games before the World Chess Championship against Jan Nepomniachtchi with 1e4. This suggests that Ding Liren could be much more inclined to feature his 1e4 repertoire against Gukesh in this World Chess Championship. Essentially, we can expect to see a little bit of everything from Ding. We'll get the Gioco Piano game, the English Opening, and the Queen's Gambit declined. Although, if we get traditional d4, d5 games, Gukesh is also known to accept the Queen's Gambit. Historically though, Gukesh will force a transposition from Ding's favourite English to the Queen's Gambit declined. However, Gukesh has shown a willingness to play mainline English theory against other players, but not against Ding. Now let's look at Gukesh with the white pieces. We'll use his candidates tournament as a sample because it's the biggest tournament he's ever played in, with an identical 7 games with the white pieces. Astonishingly, Gukesh only won 2 games in the entire candidates with the white pieces, but he was an absolute monster with the black pieces. With white, he played the Roy Lopez twice and the Queen's Gambit once. On top of this, Hikaru Nakamura drew him into the hyper-accelerated Dragon, Abasov drew him into the Petrov's defense, Jan Nepomniachtchi drew him into the pseudo-Tarrasch defense, and Vidit drew him into the Tarrasch defense. So with the white pieces, we can expect Gukesh to play just as much e4 as he does d4. He'll most likely go down Gioco Piano game lines with e4 and Queen's Gambit declined lines with d4. With the black pieces, Ding has shown a preference to entertain these Queen's Gambit declined lines, and should Gukesh play the Catalan, Ding will keep it closed. Against e4, Ding will 100% play e5. We'll get to see a lot of Gioco Piano games. Historically speaking though, this is not great for a World Chess Championship, and someone will likely surprise the other. It will most likely be Gukesh depending on how the first few games go, as Gukesh is known to be very comfortable in Sicilian middle games. It should also be noted that in the candidates, Gukesh only lost once with the black pieces against Alireza Firouzja in a game that Alireza played unbelievably well. Funnily enough, Alireza actually played the London system in that game, which is somewhat of a secret weapon for Ding. Essentially, based on their head-to-head record and recent opening preferences, I'm inclined to believe that Ding Liren will have a slight advantage in the opening phase in the World Chess Championship. It's extremely likely that Grandmaster Richard Rapport will be Ding Liren's second again this World Chess Championship, as he missed the FIDE Olympiad and the European Club Cup. Having such a talented Super GM will be absolutely crucial for Ding Liren, especially because Gukesh and Rapport have played 19 times to Ding Liren's 5. It's also currently not known who Gukesh's second will be. Generally speaking, Ding seems at his best when he's playing against the openings that Gukesh likes to play, but if Gukesh can surprise Ding, he could have some early problems. Ding will also have the element of surprise against Gukesh because he's played far less chess this year than the challenger. Gukesh was also forced to use a lot of his preparation at the candidates in 2024, and this is why the reigning champion always has that slight edge over the challenger. However, the opening phase is just a small part of the World Chess Championship. Grandmaster Magnus Carlsen believes that Ding Liren will get chances in the first few games, and he absolutely needs to take them. Ding's experience in the World Championship format could also pay dividends because it's completely different to the normal tournament format that Gukesh is used to. Whilst openings and preparation is one thing, recent form and tournaments can tell us a lot about how this World Championship will play out. Ding has had a much quieter year than Gukesh has, prioritizing his preparation over competing. Since the beginning of this calendar year, Ding has only played in the 2024 Tata Steel Masters in January, the 2024 Norway Chess in May, the 2024 Sinquefield Cup in August, and the 2024 FIDE Olympiad in September. Gukesh has had a much busier year, playing in the back end of the London Chess Classic and the Chennai Grand Masters in January, the 2024 Tata Steel Masters in January, the Prague Chess Festival in March, the 2024 Candidates in April, the 2024 GCT Superbet Romania Chess Classic in July, the 2024 Sinquefield Cup in August, the 2024 FIDE Olympiad in September, and the 2024 European Club Cup in October. For the sake of efficiency, we'll only be looking at the tournaments that both players played in. However, we will briefly touch on the tournaments Gukesh has played in later. The chronological first tournament that both players played in this year was the 2024 Tata Steel Masters, where Liren got the better of Gukesh in a Joko piano game with the black pieces. Although in their head-to-head game, Ding was an unstoppable force, Gukesh got the last laugh, finishing first in the tournament outright. However, it should be noted that in a World Chess Championship format, Gukesh's dominance over other grandmasters will be irrelevant. But Gukesh's ability to control the tournament like he did in Tata Steel will surely come in useful. Possibly the most interesting result came in round 2. Ding's countryman, Wei Yi, played Gukesh in a Joko piano game. Gukesh drew the white pieces, and after 20 moves of perfect play, Wei Yi slipped up with a faulty pawn push. What's important is how comfortable Gukesh looked in this game. He took Wei Yi out of theory by move 10, and although his position was difficult to manage, he seemingly was happy to cruise for equality in this game, forcing Wei Yi to either push too hard for a win or settle for a draw with the white pieces. This was an important trend for Gukesh throughout this entire tournament. He was never the first one to be out of theory. This can and should pay dividends in a World Chess Championship format where opening preparation means so much more than the average tournament. Gukesh showed a maturity in the Tata Steel Masters, only pushing for a win when his opponent oversteps, and never overstepping himself unless he had clear recovering chances with draws. Looking at Liren's Tata Steel campaign is a little bit tricky because world champions are known to throw tournaments in order to save their preparation for defending their title. At this point in the year, Gukesh had not even won the candidates, so he had no reason to save his preparation for a World Chess Championship match. An interesting point in the tournament for Ding was when he faced Anish Giri in round 9. This is because, like Gukesh tends to do, Anish transposed Ding's English opening into a Queen's Gambit declined Kara Sek variation. The game was too tightly knit between the two masters for an advantage to be spilled, but a problem that Ding may have in the World Championship match is how easy it is to get drawing opportunities with the black pieces. Of course, it could be argued that Ding has preparation he isn't willing to use here, but Anish didn't seem to have any problems drawing this game with the black pieces. This was a problem Ding faced throughout the entire tournament. His opening repertoire didn't seem provocative enough to yield enough winning chances, even against much weaker players. Another interesting moment in this tournament for Ding was his poor performance against Ramesh Babu Pragnananda. Uncharacteristically, Ding opted for a Roy Lopez in this game as opposed to his favored Joko piano game. He seemed to be much less comfortable in these Roy Lopez middle game positions, allowing his queenside to be overrun by Prague. I think it's safe to say we won't see Ding playing the Roy Lopez at the World Chess Championship. Overall, there was a clear tone to the performances of both players at the Tata Steel Masters. Gukesh played with a great level of composure and control in his games. He knows that you don't need to win every single game to finish a tournament in first place. Ding, on the other hand, looked extremely solid but lacked that level of unpredictability in his games. They mostly drifted to equality, but it's important to note that if Liren plays his main repertoire, he's almost impossible to beat unless you surprise him with something. If Liren can maintain an equal score in the World Chess Championship, he will most likely beat Gukesh in the tiebreaks, as Gukesh is notably inferior in sharper time conditions. Gukesh almost always senses when his opponent has made an error in the game, but the problem is, Ding very rarely makes those errors in his main repertoire. Gukesh is going to need to induce some of these errors from Liren in the World Chess Championship, possibly by surprising him with some new opening theory. Both Gukesh and Ding had quite underwhelming performances at the 2024 Sinquefield Cup. It should be noted that at this point both players would be slightly unwilling to use their main opening theory, as Gukesh would be heading towards the 2024 candidates at this point, which would be the biggest tournament of his career so far. Ding, on the other hand, would still be holding his opening theory to defend his world title. Both players failed to register a win in this tournament, and Gukesh almost impressively drew every single game. Of course, the most notable game in this tournament was round 1, where Gukesh played Ding. A Joko piano game was played, and Ding missed a big chance to take a lead on move 20, missing the simple rook e1, as his pieces were beginning to swarm the black king. It was very clear Ding had no intentions of winning this game though, as just a few moves later he would sacrifice his bishop and rook for a forced draw by perpetual check. Importantly though, Ding induced an extremely rare mistake from Gukesh in this game. in an opening that will 100% be played in the World Championship match. I think the stakes were just too low here, and Ding didn't care to get more than a draw, only spending 3 minutes on bishop d3. Apart from this though, the games in the Sinquefield Cup were largely uneventful. We just saw how solid Ding can be in his main repertoire, only losing games at the back end of the tournament when he really had nothing to lose. Gukesh, however, drew to the eventual winner Alireza Firouzja in round 4, throwing away a +3 advantage to the Frenchman after failing to find a critical hiding spot for his king on the g-file. This is something that Gukesh can absolutely not afford to do in the World Chess Championship. Liren isn't going to make that many mistakes, so Gukesh absolutely needs to punish them when they come. Apart from this, both players were extremely solid in a tournament setting much harder than usual, with players like Jan Nepomniachtchi, Alireza Firouzja, and Fabiano Caruana. As far as other tournaments go, Gukesh started off the year by playing in the Prague Chess Festival. He was joined by Liren's second, Richard Rapport, who both finished on 4.5 each. Gukesh placed 7th out of 10 in an underwhelming tournament. However, it should be noted at this point, Gukesh would be saving preparation for the candidates, which was only a month away at this point. Gukesh took uncharacteristic losses to David Davara and Matthias Bartel during the tournament, but largely this tournament should not be considered due to the candidates being so close. Of course, Gukesh had a fantastic candidates campaign, which we briefly looked at earlier. He was simply untouchable, and if it weren't for Alireza's touch of brilliance in their game, he would have left the tournament invincible. Solid as always, and just waiting for his opponent to make any kind of mistake he could punish, not overcommitting himself. Ding played in the 2024 Norway Chess just after the candidates and massively underperformed, finishing 6th of 6. However, it could be excused as the field consisted of Carlsen, Nakamura, Praggnanandhaa, Firouzja, and Caruana. Notably, Ding held a draw against Carlsen in round 1, but struggled as the tournament went on, essentially being free points to whoever played him for its remainder. He didn't register a single win at all during this tournament. Gukesh would perform well again in the Romanian Superbet Chess Classic a month later, drawing all of his games apart from his first round bout with Bogdan Danieldeac. He would then go on to lose to Fabiano Caruana in the knockout rounds, where Fabiano played an incredibly exotic English opening with 7b3. That completely took Gukesh by surprise, something that Ding might look to employ at the World Championship. Gukesh would place 3rd overall, beating countryman Ramesh Babu Praggnanandhaa in the 3rd place tiebreak. Gukesh notably had an incredible Olympiad campaign, finishing with 9 points in 10 rounds, the joint best FIDE Olympiad performance in the tournament's history. He defeated tough masters including Wei Yi, Parham Maghsoodloo, and Fabiano Caruana, leading India to win the entire Olympiad outright. It's also important to mention Gukesh knew he would play in the World Championship match by this point, and still performed incredibly well, not preserving his preparations at all. Ding sat out his match against Gukesh in their matchup with India, allowing Wei Yi to take board 1 in a tournament that he massively underperformed in, allowing draws to players over 100 ELO lower rated than himself. It's really difficult to judge based on form when it comes to the World Chess Championship. Players are known to throw tournaments just to save preparation for their candidates, let alone the World Chess Championship. But Ding's poor performances seem to go a little bit further than just that. The only logical conclusion I can come up with is that Ding is absolutely putting all of his eggs into one basket and prioritizing defending his title. He mentioned in a previous interview that his spark for chess had slightly died out after winning the World Championship in 2023. However, he did say that he was interested in defending it. At the end of the day, Liren was the underdog in 2023 against Jan Nepomniachtchi, and it looks like he'll be the underdog again this year. But I still do think it's a lot closer than that 80% probability that the bookies are giving Gukesh. I think Ding will have the advantage when it comes to openings and preparation. He'll also have the advantage in his familiarity with the World Chess Championship format. But everything else points in the direction of a Gukesh win. His recent form is absolutely phenomenal, and he has this sense of dominance and control over every tournament he plays in. I genuinely think that Ding's best bet in this World Chess Championship is to draw Gukesh into the tiebreaks like he did Jan Nepomniachtchi. Gukesh is significantly weaker when it comes to sharper time formats, and I think that Ding will absolutely crush him if it comes down to that. If we get to game 8 and Liren is either drawn or winning by a point, I think he will absolutely win the World Chess Championship. He'll force Gukesh to take risks because Gukesh knows he can't beat Ding in these faster time controls. However, if Gukesh does take an early lead, let's say he wins the first game, I think he will just go on to win the entire thing. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. World Chess Championships have never been so difficult to predict since Magnus Carlsen stopped participating, so I'd love to see what you guys think. And regardless of who you think will win, who do you want to win? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be doing a recap of the first round of the World Chess Championship on my channel, so if you'd like to see that, feel free to subscribe. But apart from that, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.